Welcome to Yacht Crew Vlogs, where we tell the stories of those in the yachting industry. A behind-the-scenes look that discovers the individuals in the industry, their history, their passions, and what inspires them to do what they do. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Yacht Crew Vlogs right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I am your host, and I'm very pleased to welcome my next guest, Marianne Hendriks. She is the Marketing and Business Development Director of Zealander Yachts and DutchCraft. How are you?
Hi, Ria. Yes, I'm fine. Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining us today. Now, I have been following your career since I started doing what I do within the yachting space. You have been in the marine industry for over 20 years. Take us back. Where are you from originally? What were your formative years? What were your plans? And what eventually got you into the maritime industry?
Yes, well, I've been in the industry for over 25 years now. Initially, when I finished school, which was a kind of economics and business management, I thought I need to see something from the world. So I used to work as a tour guide a couple of years, and I traveled in Spain and former Yugoslavia, Italy. So I learned my languages. And there also you meet a lot of people, and you see a lot of the world. And so traveling and interest in other cultures and other countries was always in my mindset. And then I returned to the Netherlands, where I'm originally from. And because I thought, well, you study, and when you become a tour leader and you don't do something with your studies, well, then you have never the chance to get back in a, let's say, a normal position. So I used to work with a construction company where I did marketing, and I did that for about 8 years. And then I met my husband, and I moved to a different part of the Netherlands, and I applied for a job with a large systems integrator, which was Alewijnse. And Alewijnse Marine Systems, they supplied electrical systems, AV, IT, and all kinds of technical solutions on board of various types of vessels, among others also to super yachts, like, for example, with Oceanco and Amels and all the major Dutch super yacht builders. And I felt very much attracted to this part of the business because it is very impressive and remarkable to see that one single owner or a couple of owners buy a super yacht, and they keep this huge industry going, because it's not just building that boat, but it is the entire infrastructure around it, like a painting company, the GRP builders, the hull and construction builders, electricity, air conditioning, upholstery, but also crew and staff, and in fact everything. So I was very much attracted by this, and I always said, when there is an opportunity that I could work with a shipyard, then I would switch, because I had a very nice and good position as marketing manager with Alewijnse, and I look back at a very nice 20 years. I traveled a lot, and but then after 20 years Alewijnse, there came this position at Monen Yachts, and Monen is a shipbuilder. They build steel, aluminum super yachts ranging from 30 to 50 meters. I started as a marketing manager, and later I became the managing director. That was a great company to work for. They built beautiful yachts, and so I stepped into this role and into this world. It is true that working for an owner and working with an owner is exceptional, because they buy this beautiful asset and valuable piece of art. And as a company and as an entire industry, you make them happy. And now, since beginning of this year, there came the opportunity to proceed to become the Director of Marketing and Business Development at Zeelander Yachts and DutchCraft. And the reason I changed is because there is a lot of possibilities and options in these type of vessels. And the shipyard builds multiple kind of yachts. So you have on the one hand the Zealanders. They are more, let's say, the classical lined lobster type boats. So very much focused on the US market. So there is enough opportunities to expand to other areas, where DutchCraft is a very sporty and young brand. And this is something new, and I thought that's very exciting if you can serve, let's say, two different areas at the same time, plus the turnover, let's say, the speed in which the yachts are built. So now we build 6 to 8 Zealanders a year and 4 to 6 DutchCrafts a year. So you have a lot of owners around, owners representative, brokers. So it's a very energetic world, and it is a great step forward for me, and I really like it. So, and there was quite a long introduction. And from my personal life, I live in a very small village in the southeast of Holland, happily married already also for 25 years. And we have 2 sons. One is 22 and the other one is 20. And so, yeah, it's a male-dominated family, and but in fact, that's a bit like the business. And so I'm very pleased that you interview me, because women in yachting, well, it should be 50-50, but it isn't.
No, it is a male-dominated industry, and you know, you do see a lot of young women now that are coming up, and they are taking their place within the yachting industry and making their voices heard. And that's really exciting to see. And I think it's really important to highlight women like yourself that have been in the industry as long as you have, that are trailblazers, really. Because if it weren't for women like you, it would have been much harder for those women that are coming up now to gain a voice and gain a place in the industry.
Yeah. True, and you don't have to be too technical to work in the yachting industry. There's enough areas where our expertise is very valuable. Always when it comes down to the purchase of a yacht, there's always women involved. And of course also male, but it is a good balance, both on the sales and on the selling side, on let's say on the purchasing and on the selling side, that there is a balance between male and female.
Well, I mean, I think it's like anything else in the world. It takes a male and a female to make things work. You know, I mean, you can't have kids without a male and a female. So, you know, all of life is supported by having an equal representation, I think. And I think within the yachting industry that it will only get stronger with that equal representation. And it's really exciting to see these women coming up and making their voices heard. One thing I wanted to ask you, and something that I've sort of always found very interesting, what is it like to meet an owner who is going through the process of having a boat built for the very first time, who have never, you know, perhaps they've chartered yachts, et cetera, they've had sailing lessons as kids, but this is their first major purchase of a yacht of any type. What is that?
Well, that is an interesting process, and at Sealander we have a recently launched a boat that was purchased by a first-time owner, and they did a bit of boating, but like more in the canals and on the IJsselmeer and so in the Netherlands, but never had let's say a serious boat like a yacht. And they came to the shipyard because they were interested in the Sealander, and in fact in the smallest Sealander, and which is what is about 14 or 15 meters set wide. And then they came to the shipyard, and I think he came first on his own, and later the wife accompanied him. And then they stepped into the shipyard and were on board of the boat. And we always have several boats in the yard. And then they saw the largest one in line and said, "Whoa, this is amazing. This is what we want." And so the boat was purchased, but it was not ready yet. And so then it took a couple of months, and then it was launched, and they were invited to the shipyard to do the official christening and launch. And they stepped aboard of their purchase for the first time. And it was really like, whoa, this is a big boat, and it feels so. Yeah, of course, he knew how to drive a boat, but driving such a big boat is really a challenge, and you will experience things like maneuvering and also the transport of the boat, but also the entire process of the decisions you have to take on the colors, on the upholstery, but also on the flagging. Where should the boat go? How will she be transported? A lot of things. You need to decide on the cutlery, on the cups, on the plates, in fact, on everything. And so there's a lot. It is an entire decision-making process. It's not just like going to a shop and say, yeah, I want that boat. Yeah, then you buy a brokerage boat. But if you buy a new build, you have to take a lot of decisions. And then finally, there is that moment that the boat is yours, but then you have to familiarize. So the shipyard has a very severe task to guide that person, or these persons, in this case, it was a family, guide them through the process of familiarization and get familiar to the boat, feel safe and secure, and drive that boat. But sure, first-time buyers, it is maybe the experience is even more intense than when you step up to a next boat, or when you are used to charter, because then you know what it is to be on board, and you feel like how the sea works and how things are done when you enter a harbor, and what you have to do, and things like that. So yeah, it is an interesting process. But they seem to be very
excited as the client.
Yes, it is, and because I'm always very excited. Like I said, this was my major goal, to make that owner happy. And when you see that owner happy, that makes me happy, and it makes me proud of the team. It makes me proud of the shipyard, and because it's all hands. It is a chain of people, with everybody putting a little bit of knowledge into this, and then eventually there is this beautiful piece of art, and this is what makes me happy.
Well, and do you find that even with your company, that as time goes on, I mean, 20 years ago, a boat was a boat was a boat. Maybe 30 years ago.
Yeah.
No, giving away my age. Nowadays, as you said, these boats are becoming pieces of art. I mean, as much time and effort, money, and interest goes into the interior of these boats as it does the exterior and the nuts and bolts.
Yeah, both exterior, interior, but I think there's also another factor, and that's the consciousness about environment. And you see that I think when I look back also 25, 30 years, there was not such a topic, and boats were smaller, but nobody in fact cared like footprint, eco footprint, ecological things. And now today, people who buy a yacht, they are first of all aware of what it needs to build it, and that you need eco-friendly materials, but also sustainability on board is today's topic that you cannot avoid. And at DutchCraft, for example, the brand I represent also, is we are working on a full electric vessel. So we have built one. There's a smaller craft, but I think electrification is something that will continue, and also all kinds of wastewater treatment is by regulation, but use of heat, but maybe use of other paint or air conditioning systems or whatever. It will continue to improve, because people are definitely more conscious, and they know what they want. They are knowledgeable, probably even more than before.
Are you finding that the demographics have changed in the last 20, 25 years for new boat owners?
If you mean with demographic, the age of the buyer, is that what you mean? Yeah. Yes, I think so. And it is an economical factor that you see that a lot of, let's say, younger people become rich. These self-made millionaires, they the amount of self-made millionaires grow from day to day, and they are younger than before because the way they do business now, because the internet is there, and there's a lot of businesses that grow exponentially through the internet. And so business has changed, economy has changed. So that means people get richer quicker. So they are younger. And of course, there's also people that are rich by heritage. And what you also see, and this is probably also when people have been in business for years, and finally, let's say when they're somewhere between 60, 70-year-old, then they think, okay, now it's time for the family. So they sell the business, and they can sell it quite good at the moment. So, and then there is money to spend to buy that quality time, and where to spend this time better than on board of a boat. Well, that's a good thing. They buy a property, for example, where you are based in Spain. There's a lot of properties that have their own boat or their own marina just in front of them, and that's the same in the US. There you have this special areas where well, there is this private marinas, and so I would say there is a lot of new, younger millionaires, and there's people older selling businesses that are established businesses for over the years.
Well, this past 2 years, we have seen, the US has had a huge boom in not only the rich getting richer, but creating many more millionaires within the US.
Yeah.
Do you target your business to that marketplace, or do you see it equal between Europe and the US, or where is your biggest client base?
Yeah, there is two things, of course. The Zealander brand is quite established in the US, and maybe this comes because the lines of the boat, they are a bit like the lobster boats that are very popular in the US. So the other boat, the DutchCraft, is very much focused on diving and on exploring, on fun. So are also very suitable for Florida and well, the West Coast. But if you target on other markets, like in Europe, for example, the electricity system is different, but also entering the yacht is different. In Europe, you have a passerelle, and in the US, you do sideboarding. So what we always do executions for the US and, let's say, rest of the world. And at Zealander and DutchCraft, we only start building when we have a customer. So in fact, that's easy. We know what to build, but to target that area, that is, we do it online via marketing. We use brokers, we use dealers, and of course, word by mouth is very important, because the referral from owner to owner is the best advertisement you ever can wish for. And so this is maybe why let's say the oil stain in the US grows. But we need to put some effort in the rest of the world to make that brand, both the brands, more visible in Europe and maybe even in Australia or the Emirates, because the boats are suitable for all these areas.
Nice. Well, you know what, Marianne, it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know a little bit about you and a little bit about your new role, and I congratulate you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you for interviewing me and giving me the opportunity to tell something about myself and the business. And I wish you a very good luck with your recordings and your Yachting International Radio.
Thank you. Well, it's been my absolute pleasure, because I really do like to champion women within the yachting industry, and you are definitely a trailblazer. So for all women in yachting, we thank you for all of your effort and all of your time put in order to make the pathway a lot more easier for the rest of them.
Thank you so much. That's very kind.
You've been listening to Marianne Hendriks. She is the new Marketing and Business Development Director of Zealander Yachts and DutchCraft. You've been watching another edition of Yacht Crew Vlogs right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I have been your host. We'll see you again.